And that one video gave me the confidence to say, hey, okay, forget what everyone else is saying. I actually am gonna still quit my job and I'm gonna make a video every single day. And I don't care if I have to make a video every single day for 10 years. I know that I made something one time that enough people enjoyed, and I'll do it 100 more times to replicate that success.
Hey everybody, I'm Steve Bertoni, Forbes Assistant Managing Editor, and today we're sitting down with Adam W., a comedian and creator who has more than 55 million followers and the new member of the Forbes top creator list. Adam, welcome.
Hi, guy.
How's it going, bud? Good to see you. We can hug later.
Yeah, we'll hug after this.
We can hug later.
Cool.
So you just made the Forbes top creator list for the third time in a row.
Three-peat.
You're also a Forbes under 30 member and judge.
Yeah.
So welcome to the Forbes family, baby. This is great.
Man, I love being part of the Forbes family. I love you guys.
I want to talk first about where this all began. What were you doing before you became a professional creator? What were you all about?
I was doing valet. And I was an assistant. I moved out here to Los Angeles. I'm from New York. I moved out here to be an actor.
Okay.
And then when I got here, I realized that's what everyone else moved out here for too. And it was really tough. I just wasn't able to get even an audition. I wasn't able to get a manager, agent, none of that. I think I might have got like 3 auditions like in a whole year. Obviously didn't get any of them.
That's like cliche, like a wannabe actor who's parking valet. Where'd you park?
I actually worked for this company and they did like different events.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have to wear like a little red jacket?
Yeah, I had that red vest. I still have it. I had to wear that red vest. And I remember I always used to park cars and be like, shit, I hope I don't run into somebody famous. Like they would even remember me. But I was kind of embarrassed of doing it.
And you're from Queens. Did you do acting growing up? Or
no,
was it just...
not at all. I played football my whole life. My plan A was to go to the NFL. I ended up playing in college in Texas at SMU.
Oh, no, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
What'd you play? What position?
Corner.
Oh, nice. You were fast.
Yeah, I was fast. I'm still fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, didn't work out. And after that, I was like, shit, what am I going to do with my life? And my sister was like, oh, you've always been funny. Why didn't you try to be an actor? So I just moved to LA, never been here before, tried it. Nothing worked. Nothing went my way.
Yeah.
And towards the end of that year and a half, I saw people creating content online.
What year was this, by the way?
This was 2016,
okay.
I believe. End of 15, 16.
Yeah, so long ago, but not that long ago.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like a long time ago. Yeah. But yeah, I started. I saw people making content online. I was like, all right, let me try making a video, and maybe a director will see it and they'll put me in a movie. That was my whole plan. Not knowing that directors weren't even on Instagram at that time.
They had no idea.
Yeah. Most of them aren't even on there now.
What was your first video of?
The first one I tried, I forget exactly what it was. I remember the first one I made that took off.
Okay.
But I had tried like a couple videos, and they were I had like 300 followers. The first video that took me like 4 months to make got 90 views.
4 months.
Yeah, 4 months. Just because like, I said I wanted to be an actor. I never acted before.
Okay.
And I wasn't going to acting classes. I've never created anything. And a lot of people don't realize acting is a specific craft, right? Yeah. Then you have to produce something. You have to direct something. You have to edit something. These are all different jobs, right? And a lot of times, when you see an actor on screen, that actor is work for hire. They just show up, they read their lines, they do a great performance, but they're not in charge of producing this thing, directing this thing, editing this thing, writing this thing.
Yeah, it was like a one-man show for you.
Exactly. So I kind of just had to teach myself how to do that whole thing. And, at that time, and still a perfectionist trying to put out the best piece of content, it took me 4 months to make that 34-second video. And I put it out and didn't get the result that I wanted.
Yeah, how'd you feel? Like you put all that time in and it was just like you're sitting there hitting refresh, trying to look at
I thought
views.
It was broken. I was like, my Wi-Fi still says 5 views. When I found out what it got, I was like, F this. I'm going to move back home. Yeah. I'm going to pack it up, just get a real job. Like everyone's been telling me to do this whole time, get a real job. So that's what I was planning on doing. And that happened in the beginning of the month. And I was like, I got to wait to the end of the month to get paid to book my flight.
Okay.
So I was like, yeah, while I'm here, I might as well shoot a couple more videos. And the fourth one that I did, I posted it in the morning. And by nighttime, I got 1,000 views.
Okay.
Which was cool, more than my following, but didn't think anything of it.
Yeah. That went to bed. 10 times more popular than your first year. Yeah.
Woke up the next morning, had 400,000 views.
Wow. Okay.
And it had went viral, and tons of people were texting me and talking about it. And
what was it?
It was a video about girls. My girl was doing her makeup while she was driving.
Okay.
So like the visor was down and she's like she's swerving and I'm in the passenger seat like panicking. Stupid video. I didn't think anything of it. I was like, whatever, let me try this one. I actually didn't really even like the video when I edited, and I was like, what do I have to lose? I might as well post it. And it just resonated with people. People loved it. It went viral. And that one video gave me the confidence to say, hey, okay, forget what everyone else is saying. I actually am going to still quit my job, and I'm going to make a video every single day. And I don't care if I have to make a video every single day for 10 years. I know that I made something one time that enough people enjoyed, and I'll do it 100 more times to replicate that success.
Wow. I love that. I mean, it's crazy because you said you spent 4 months on one video that you loved and it didn't resonate. And then the video that you kind of just did last minute that you hated was the one that took off.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, so you're a football player. So with social media, it's almost like you can throw it sounds like your plan was to just throw as many Hail Marys as you can because there's no downs. You can do it as many times as you want. And it becomes like a numbers game, right? It's like taking as many swings as you can.
Yeah, you got to be able to definitely take no. Like even when I played at SMU, I was a walk-on. So all I heard was no. You know, I tried to get a scholarship at a school. I heard no. I walked onto this team. I made the team. I tried to get on the field. No, you can't play. I finally started to play. I constantly heard no. So even when you come to Hollywood, you're going to hear a lot of no's.
Yeah.
I went into auditions. When someone says no, it's fine. I heard no. And same thing with social media, right? You put out content, it's not going to do well. It's not going to do well. The stuff you put your heart and soul in doesn't do well. Something you don't try on does well. You start to figure out the formula. You start to figure out what's working, what's not. So you got to really be able to take no. But, you know, once you start hearing yes, you stop hearing no a lot and you start hearing a lot more yeses.
So how did your strategy of a video day work? How did that go?
So there was a lot of videos that would never see the light of day.
Okay.
A lot of stuff I would make stuff and just shoot it and be like, this sucks. This is not great. I can't post this. There's no way I could post this. But I would still film it every single day because I'm getting better every single day at the process. And eventually, a lot of times, you know, you put something on paper and it sounds good. And then there's so many steps in the process that you can mess up, right? You put something on paper, it sounds funny, you shoot it ends up not being funny. You end up shooting it, you think it's funny, you edit it, it's not that funny. Sometimes you shoot something and write something and it's okay, but then you save it in the edit and it becomes amazing when you put it all together, right? So there's so many steps that I learned along the way, but yeah, every day something is gonna get shot.
So when did this become like a full-time job? When 2016, you're doing a video a day, some take off, some don't. When did you start feeling like, okay, I'm getting some traction here?
So at one point I had I think it took me 6 months to get 500,000 followers.
Okay.
And I remember I'd walk around and people were like, oh my God, you're that one guy from the internet. And I would get stopped everywhere I go. But at that time, I was living in a 2-bedroom with 6 people.
2-bedroom with 6 people? Yeah. Like arrow beds everywhere?
Yeah, in North Hollywood, had the curtain in my room and everything. And I would meet people and they'd be like, oh, you're probably killing it. Like everyone knows you. And I'm like, I'm actually making no money at all. At that time, my sister was helping me pay my rent. And I had already quit my job and I knew that I was gonna do this full time. And I was never really too worried though, because I knew hey, I'm getting tons of viewership.
Yeah.
There's gotta be a way to make money, right? I never really chased the money. It was more so I know that I've built this platform. I'm gonna keep growing it. And I mean, sooner or later, I got to make money, right? It just doesn't make sense if I wouldn't. I'm getting millions of views at this time.
Are you still valeting at this point? Or are you just doing this full time?
I had quit.
Okay.
And my sister was just paying my rent. So shout out to her. But yeah, I was like, crap, I have this following, not making any money, but there's got to be a way to make money. And I remember I started to hang around some other creators, bigger creators at that time who had invited me to shoot days. And I was like, how's everyone making money in here? You know, I never wanted to ask anybody about their pockets or how they make money or anything like that. But I was just thankful to even be there and to shoot with them and collab with them. But I was like, how's everyone, this guy has a Lamborghini and they're all making all this money. How are they doing it? And I saw that they were doing these brand deals.
Okay.
These brands were paying them these massive amounts of money to just post about them. And I was like, I got to get a brand deal. How do I get a brand deal? And I kind of just manifested it and prayed on it. And the first one I got was T-Mobile for $20,000.
Okay. And what
it was the most money I ever made.
Yes. And they said we want you to just do a video incorporating T-Mobile into it?
Yeah. Basically, it was a campaign. I think it was maybe fastest LTE network or something of those sorts. And basically they sent a brief and they were like, hey, create a concept, send it to us, we'll approve it, and then you get the concept back, you shoot it, you edit it, you send it to them for approval again, and then you post it and send the insights afterwards. And I remember that video that I made, it got 1 million views.
Wow.
Because I put so much time and effort into it. And I actually spent like around $5,000-6,000 to make that video.
Gotcha. Okay.
If I were to make that video today, I'd make it for less than $1,000. I mean, I have a whole team now, right? But at that time, I was just so thankful that they even gave me a chance.
Yes.
I was like, I needed all of that 20,000. I did every cent of it, but I was like, I'll spend 5,000-6,000 of this to give them a great product because they gave me a chance, right?
Cool.
And I put it out and it got 1 million views. There was no boosting back then, no ads, nothing, just straight organic 1 million views. I ended up doing a year partnership with them after that because of the result of that video.
You said you were preying on brand deals. When this T-Mobile came to you, were you out there cold calling brands? Did you have an agent, or were you just literally just waiting for them? They DM'd you.
Yeah, they DM'd me and I was like, T-Mobile? What?
Yeah.
And I had to check the page to see if it was verified. And it was legitimately them. And then we got on email with them and then we figured it out. But yeah, it was a DM. And I remember I woke up that morning and I saw it on my phone. I was like, no way.
So T-Mobile is your first big deal. Now let's fast forward today, 2024. You have 55 million followers across your platforms. Forbes estimates you made around 15 million over the last year. Tell me, how did you get there?
I didn't plan on doing it. I kind of just created this thing and it just kept growing and it was in my lap and, got better. And then I started to work with a lot of brands. And then I kind of started to build this reputation of, if you want the best brand deal with the best viewership and the best content, you're going to come to me. And I've proved that time and time over again. I mean, in the high billions of views just on branded content alone, worked with mostly all of the Fortune 500 companies, a lot of long-term partnerships with big brands like Old Spice. Been working with them for 5 years, still working with T-Mobile. And really, when it comes to branded content, a lot of creators will just be like, oh, go buy this phone. And, it gets 200,000 views and no one's happy. The audience isn't happy. The brand's not happy. Maybe the creator's happy, they get paid, but it's just a one-time payday, right? That brand's not going to come back because they weren't happy with the result. Yeah. But for me, I'm going to go above and beyond. I will go out of my way to make this the funniest video because what I do is I'm going to think, okay, what is the funniest idea about a phone? Just in general, right? Now, let me implement T-Mobile secondhand. It's clearly a brand deal.
What's the funniest part of a phone?
I mean, not having service, calls dropping,
breaking it,
screen cracking. I mean, you can go on for days, right? Finding that relatability, right? What's something that actually other people go through? Doesn't matter what the phone service is, right? And then now, why is T-Mobile the best? And whether you agree with that or not, you still laughed at this video and you still shared it. And guess what? It's still on par with my other videos. Production value, prop-wise, actor, actress wise, I'm not just getting a check and posting something, right? And brands appreciate that. Yeah. They see that and they say, hey, we gave this guy $200,000 for one video and he spent $10,000, at least $15,000 on that video, where a lot of other creators they might not even have a team. They might just show up.
You're investing into it.
Exactly. And, I'm going to guarantee that video breaks over 1 million views organically without them boosting. Of course, they'll boost it later on, sure. As well as, it's going to be a piece of content that they can use, moving forward for other brand briefs, and they can even post it themselves. A lot of times, like, other friends of mine will text me like, hey, I just got this brand brief for Walmart or Old Spice, and look, your video is an example video. So really establishing myself as an authority in that space and saying, hey, if you're going to pay me to do a brand, I'm going to go above and beyond. It's going to be the best piece of content you get from any creator. And it's going to get an insane amount of viewership, not only just for a branded piece of content, but just in general.
Yeah, you're saying, you invest, you'll invest $10,000 into the production of a video for a client. What is your operation like? What is Adam W. Inc. look like right now?
So I have about 5 employees. Okay. It used to be more. I actually scaled down because it didn't make sense. About 5 employees. I have a shooter, I have an editor, I have a couple PAs, and sound lighting guy. Okay. And basically, it's just us 5. We rock it, and we get a lot of crazy things done. It's a little bit easier. A lot of times when you show up somewhere with a big crew, they're like, oh, this is a huge production. They'll charge you more. It's more of a bigger deal. You have to sign releases, insurance, this, that. We kind of have just this run and gun style where we show up with a phone and have lighting. Everything's portable, and we get it done.
What's your creative process? 'Cause it's being funny is hard. Like just look at SNL, right? Like
Yeah.
And how do you kind of create your content? How do you come up with ideas? Do you storyboard it, act it out? Like take me from like the first kernel of a video to like, boom, it's done.
I have a pretty insane process. So this is what I do. So I post every other day, no matter what.
Okay.
I used to post every single day for like almost 5 years, but my schedule now is every other day. I refuse to come up with an idea or do any content creation on the day I'm not posting. So for example, when it's a post day, I wake up at 6 a.m. and I give myself from 6 to 9 a.m. to come up with an idea.
Okay.
Whatever that is.
Are you scrolling, looking at trends?
Looking at trends. I'll take a walk sometimes. I'll call people. I'll try to track back what happened this week. What are the funny things that happened?
Okay.
Sometimes I go on ChatGPT. What are annoying things that happen to people throughout the day?
Yeah.
I'm really just pulling from anywhere that I can. So I'll go do that. And by around 9, maybe 10, sometimes I'll have the idea. Once I get the idea, I tell the crew the idea. They produce it. They get the location, the props. I'll call actors, actresses that morning. I'm like, hey, can you get here in 10 minutes? If they say no, next person. Hey, can you get here in 10 minutes? Nope, next person. Till I finally find somebody. Shoot the whole thing. My editor is on set right after we finish it, probably around like 12, maybe 1, sometimes 1:30. Edit it instantly. The post goes up by 2:30, and then everyone's off. And then the next day, I have tons of other things I'm doing, stand-up, meetings, this, that, whatever, and then back to posting.
That's crazy, man. Were you a crammer in high school and college? You're like a cram guy.
Yeah, I'm a procrastinator. But you know what it is? I think for me, it's really tough to say, hey, sit in this room for an hour and come up with some ideas.
Yeah.
It's really tough. When I know I have to post by 2 p.m., 2:30, my back's against the wall, that's when I thrive. I'm like,
you'd be a great journalist. The deadline makes things happen for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm like, if I have to post, I will pull an idea out of the woodwork from somewhere, something. But if you just give me a random day, I'm not posting, and you go in a room for 3 hours, I might get something, I might not.
Yeah. So you need the adrenaline, you need the pressure of the deadline. Yes. Many journalists in my film crew can agree. Our film crew can agree to that.
No block shooting.
We were talking before off camera about like the Forbes top creator list and how we look at earnings, entrepreneur score, engagement, and followers. And you were saying that it's all about engagement. Let's talk to me about that and how, and why is engagement important, and why are engagement in some platforms different than other platforms?
Yeah, engagement to me is everything, right? I mean, like a lot of times you'll see big accounts like 30 million, 20 million, don't even break 20,000 views. To me, that's like having a Ferrari that doesn't drive, right?
Okay.
Like the engagement is the most important thing. Like I rather collab or work or have a page that has a much smaller follower count and have that audience highly engaged. Mm-hmm. Especially as you grow, right? You want to be in the algorithm. You want to have high engagement. Having high engagement leads to converting more and following, and it might take slower, right? But you're much better off having a highly engaged account than a big follower account. And yeah, I think on every platform, it's really important to have high engagement, especially with like a lot of short form content. A lot of the viewership's coming from these For You pages, right? Yep. So ultimately, like your follower count isn't really getting a chance to truly see your content. I think like a stat from I forget what platform, but like maybe 1% to 2% of traffic comes from your actual profile page, right? All the rest is coming from the For You page. So what does that mean? That means that
this is on TikTok, right?
Yeah, on TikTok, and really across all platforms for short form, right? Which means what? That means that your content has to be engaging enough and good enough for someone who's never encountered you to watch it, right? If you're doing something very niche just for your follower account that you built, it might not be getting great engagement because it's not appealing and it's not making it on the For You page for newer people to see. So you always have to think ahead. Every time I make a video, I take myself out of my shoes. Okay, if you've never seen me before, if you have no clue who I am, is this relatable? Is this funny? Would you laugh at this, right? But at the same time, pleasing my current audience, right? So you kind of got to wear both hats and be able to play both.
What of other platforms of Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, YouTube, where is the follower the most valuable?
I'd say YouTube. I think YouTube, the subscribers, YouTube is really the home of creators in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Like, it's the home of community. Like a lot of the YouTube subscribers are very dedicated, very loyal. I think probably on YouTube it matters the most.
Which followers are the cheapest?
The cheapest?
Least value, I would say.
Tumblr. No, I'm just kidding. I don't even have Tumblr.
Tumblr, that's a throwback.
The least cheapest? I mean, it's tough. I think with short form content, like pretty much all of them are it really comes down to how much your community is interacting with you versus like the number.
And talking about short term, you have, how many views do you get a year?
So just on the last 30 days on IG, I did 1.2 billion views.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I usually always do over 1 billion views across platforms in general every month. But I think this year, somewhere around like, I do a count at the end of the year. And it's tough because some platforms will tell you like how much you got in the year and some you got to like manually count. But I think somewhere around like 17 billion.
17 billion.
Yeah.
And there's a huge move. Everyone wants to go long form YouTube because they can serve ads and make money. And obviously YouTube Shorts, it's getting there, but they're not paying anyone right now. Like, what is the trick? If you want to make money by going short, how do you do it? What's your advice?
Okay, so my advice when it comes to short form and long form, like in a perfect world, you want to do both.
Yeah.
Right? But you have to understand what the advantages are to doing long form and the advantages to what are doing short form. So short form, you're going to get more eyeballs. You're not going to get 17 billion views unless you're Mr. Beast on long form content. You're just not, right? However, you might make more money probably than the average short form creator, right? With exceptions to a few people who are doing a lot of branded deals. Most of the time you can have maybe 2 million, 1 million subscribers on YouTube doing long form content, and you'll make double, triple the amount of a short form creator that's in the high millions of followers, right? Gotcha. So you will generally make more money as a long form creator, but in terms of eyeballs, you're seen by everybody. You know, I remember years ago I did something with a fellow creator, YouTube creator, and we did something outside of Foot Locker. Okay. And at the time, I think I had like 1 million followers on Instagram, non-existent on other platforms. And he had about 1 million subscribers on YouTube and non-existent on other platforms. And way more people came up to me and were like, oh my God, I love your stuff. You're that one guy. You're the one guy. You're the one guy. And that's because, you know, I was getting way more viewership. Right. But the people that came up to him were like diehard fans. They knew everything about him. They loved him and they like knew him. But so they
were engaged. They were really into it.
So it was like almost like either you knew him and you really knew him or you didn't know him at all, right? So for eyeballs, you're gonna get way more eyeballs doing short form. You're gonna get less doing long form, but you're gonna make more monetary doing long form versus short form.
That's funny. That reminds me of like years ago, I did a cover story with David Chang, the chef, Mamafuko, and that was before he, you know, he was huge, but before he blew up on Netflix and that stuff. And I remember asking him, like, do you get stopped a lot? And he said, I'm like a Star Wars. I mean, he goes, I'm like a Star Trek actor. I go, what do you mean? He's like, most people don't notice me, but the people that do are huge fans. They're like,
exactly.
Like, I'm either invisible or they freak out. It's like nerd out on them. I'm sure that's kind of like what you're talking about there with like the YouTube
and that bridge is gapped, right? Or there's like no gap in that anymore because now, you know, YouTube is a killer in short form, right? So now you have a lot of creators who just want to do short form on YouTube and they'll do that. Some want to do both. Some want to just do long form. So it's not as imbalanced anymore, but that's how I always see short form and long form. So it really depends on what your goals are, right? For me, I'd rather get the eyeballs and figure out how to make the money later.
Gotcha. What are your goals now going forward? So many creators like yourself are going from the phone screens to the TV screens, the silver screens. Like you said, you're getting 18 billion views a year. You have huge influence. Are people coming to you looking at other projects beyond kind of the social media space?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of other things I'm venturing into. Stand-up is one of the bigger ones that I'm like really focused on.
How's that? I heard stand-up's so hard. I want to do like, one day I want to do like stand-up in front of my friends.
I'll let you open up for me, man.
Oh, I'll clear the room. You don't want that. But how are you finding stand-up? And also, who are like your comedic heroes, both in your skits and in your stand-up?
For sure. One, stand-up is you absolutely have to respect the format. You know, just because you have a following or you're funny online doesn't mean you're going to be funny on stage.
Yes.
You can be, right?
There's no editing.
Yeah, there's no editing. It's one shot. You know, you go out there, a lot of times people know who you are. Sometimes they don't know who you are. And you got to kind of feel the room and understand, you know, the energy within the room to make people laugh. You have to write jokes a certain way, right? Like something I would write as a sketch might be horrible on stage. Something I write on stage would never work as a sketch, vice versa. So I think for me, the biggest learning curve was like respecting the format, understanding the format. And I've been like super lucky to have some comedy juggernauts mentor me, where I'm like, what the hell? This person is helping me out.
Like who?
Me open up. Joe Coy, I just opened up for him in San Francisco,
Awesome.
at the Warriors Arena, which was insane. Got
That's huge. In the arena?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. Over 11,000 people. And it was insane because like if I got 11,000 views, I would consider deleting my account.
Yeah.
Right. But 11,000 people in real life is no joke. I mean, this is a lot of people. And it kind of actually shifted my mindset of like, you know, even if you get 11,000 views, it's a big deal. It's a lot of people. 11,000 people in one room is absolutely insane.
It's huge and it's big money. So this year, one of our top creators, Matt Rife, is number 3 on the list because he earned around $50 million this year because of his social media following. He's doing 30 shows a month and they're all sold out. And and obviously, as you know, very little production needed for stand-up comedy. So he's just banking money on all those seats. It's incredible.
Yeah, he's a great example of someone who's taken stand-up and, you know, really leveraged social media and took it to the next level. And people don't realize, you know, Matt, he's been doing this for over 10 years, you know, doing stand-up.
He almost quit. He was telling us before. He was staying in a hostel in New York City doing a show. And then right before he put up his first thing on YouTube, and then he blew up, and now he's making all that money. It's
he's
crazy.
a perfect example of a guy who's a master at his craft. Oh, he absolutely deserves it, and I think he started a complete wave of this crowd work clips, of crowd work content on social, where you see a lot of people now replicating it. So he's awesome. So congrats to him. But yeah, Joe Coy, Kevin Hart is another one who's really stepped up and has helped me out with a lot of stuff. Dane Cook as well. I've been opening up for him too. So these guys, you know, I grew up watching these guys, and you know, these are some of my favorite comedians. So to be able to share the stage and, you know, to hear their input on what I should do and get advice, and even if they don't give me advice, just to be in the room, fly on the wall, just to be a sponge and absorb everything. Doesn't matter how many followers you have, how much money you have. I think you always have to continue to learn, and it doesn't always have to be from a guy like that, but from anybody, right? Every week I feel like I'm getting better.
Why? What's your material? What's your style?
Yeah, it's a lot of self-deprecating, make fun of myself, talk about my platform, having a following, the struggles of fame, the benefits of it, you know, just a little bit about myself. At the same time, too, you know, when you first jump into stand-up, you start to, okay, what's funny about me, right? Yeah. What's funny about my story? What's funny about my upbringing, my childhood? And you kind of get that material out of the way, and then as you start to cook, you start to find other material, right? Same thing with videos, right? Like, I would do stuff that happened to me in my life, like that my mom would do, or this would happen, or like a girlfriend would do. And then you start to have to just pull from everything. Oh, okay, what happened to my friend? Let me shoot that. Or what happened to this person? Oh, that happened today. So it's just pulling from a lot of real moments.
Wow. I mean, you already have a media empire. You're making a very good living. Stand-up is hard, and you're kind of taking this like apprentice mindset again. What is driving you to do stand-up?
I just want to cause traffic. I want to cause traffic.
What do you mean by that?
Like, I want people to be like on the 101 and be like, what the hell's going on? Why is there so much traffic? And someone to be like, it's the Adam W show. I just want to cause traffic in cities all around. I think like live performance is the greatest feeling. Like even like you go do like a room of 200 people and you crush it and people laughing. It's different than getting like the laugh emoji. Yeah. I'm used to just seeing laugh emojis, right? But to hear actual laughs, forget that these are real people that are actually watching your videos, that are actually laughing when they're watching them, right? So when you hear that laugh, and even if it's 100 people, 200 people, 11,000 people, it's just the best feeling, right? You leave, you walk off stage, and I'm like, I'm hilarious. Well, it's just a great feeling.
I'm psyched to do the fireside with you today at Top Creators. We're gonna have a packed house of 400 people, so we'll get that energy. What about other things besides stand-up? Obviously, you're famous for videos, clips, skits. Have you been approached by kind of longer form mainstream media to do the MW show that's more, you know, a clip based, or more do a comedy, do a movie? Do you have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, so it was something that we were talking to. I had a partnership with Wheelhouse, still do, to create some content, working with Heartbeat to also produce some stuff. So I think the 3 buckets for me is I'm never really going to take my foot off the gas on social content. Always going to continue to keep making skits and sketches. Secondly, stand up. And third, longer form content or traditional content like movies and film and TV. But, you know, And I was saying this to someone the other day. There's always this constant pressure of, hey, you've built this audience.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go to Netflix. Oh, let's go to Hulu. But why? Why can't I just stay on YouTube? Why can't I make a $5 million movie and put it out on YouTube, right? So it's figuring out what makes sense with that, with the ROI and how to get, whether it's a brand involved or whatever the case may be. But I kind of want to just stay on YouTube. I kind of want to create these premium pieces of content and put them out on my socials rather than having to get people to go somewhere else.
Wow.
And I do believe that in 4 or 5 years, YouTube will have that prestige. Instagram, TikTok, these platforms will have that prestige. Because right now, those platforms, yes, in terms of monetary, it's probably going to be more than a traditional project.
Yeah.
In terms of fame, it's probably going to be more than a traditional platform. But it's the prestige that is kind of the third bucket that maybe social creators and social platforms don't get. And I do feel like that narrative is shifting, and I think YouTube is a leader in that. And I do think that that prestige will be there in the next few years. So, maybe I'll shift my audience to go watch a project somewhere else, but maybe I also won't. Maybe I'll stay where I'm at.
Yeah, you have a YouTube film in a movie theater. There you go.
Exactly.
You have 55 million followers. When you post and knowing it's going to go out to all those folks, do you feel responsibility? Do you feel nervous because you're like basically doing an audience of a live NFL game, so to speak?
No, because I'm usually late on my post. I'm like, hurry up. I'm trying to get this thing out ASAP. It's like coming right off the laptop, exported onto my phone. I'm putting it out. But I think I have a very good mindset of what is appropriate, what would offend somebody. Look, I'm not always right, but I think I'm like 98% right at the time. So
Gotcha.
I have a lot of confidence, and I've made a lot of mistakes. So when I press that button, I'm pretty confident.
If you can go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice right before you went viral and became a creator full time, what would it be?
I was at a really bad point in my life, like mentally at that time. I had a lot of anxiety because I didn't know what I was gonna do in my life. I think just with anything, any journey, it's so important to enjoy it. Don't be so hard on yourself. At the same time, work hard and, dream big and make it happen. But I wish I wasn't as hard on myself.
What's been like this darkest, scariest day as a creator for you?
The darkest, scariest day. I remember I think there's more pressure when you get a following to then post. Like when you first start posting, who cares? No one's watching.
Yeah.
Right? You could try anything, right? I think like the first month that I was like starting to really get 1 million views, I had a lot of pressure of like, shit, what if I put this out? There's gonna be so many people that judge this. There's gonna be so many people, what if they don't like it? So I would put a lot of pressure, but I don't think there was like a specific, have I ever got canceled? No, I don't think I ever got canceled or had really any backlash.
I think you remember if you did. So.
Yeah. No, I don't remember. I mean, luckily, I don't think I really had a dark day.
What is the secret to getting a massive following?
Consistency. 100% consistency. A lot of people, you can get 10 million views on a video. The next day, someone else is getting 10 million views. You have to continue to keep putting those numbers up. You have to continue to keep putting content up. You can be the most famous person online for a year. You could be a meme. Then boom, you go away. What happens? How do you make money? Where does your audience go? How do you scale, right? So it's not just about being good, getting views, putting great content out. It's about consistently doing it. How long can you do it for?
And is that the same? How do you build a really tight engagement with your community?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, look, if you're putting out banger after banger after banger, people want to keep coming back and watching. If you start to put out some videos that aren't great and then you stop trying and these videos aren't as good, you start to lose your audience, you start to lose your community, right? So it's not only just giving the same quality, but upping that quality year after year after year and giving people a reason to want to keep coming back. It's like a show, right? The Office. Why is The Office so great? It gets better every season. Yeah. It's so funny. It's better every single season. So I think same thing with being a creator. You got to be better every season.
And what is your big prediction for the creator economy in the next coming years?
I think we're going to see a lot of creators start to win Emmys, Oscars, awards. I think the prestige within being a content creator will really start to flourish over the next few years. And you're going to see creators' businesses surpass other people's businesses that aren't creators. I think every day it's getting stronger. I think even if you were to predict where it's at now, from where it was 3 years ago, has been astronomical. So I think we're going to see a lot of prestige is the word in the next few years in the creator economy and just the creator landscape.
Well said. That's a great place to end. Adam W., thanks for coming on Top Creators.
Hey, thank
Appreciate
you.
it,
Fist
man. That's
bump.
great.
No, this
Fist
one.
bump?
Okay, yeah, this one. All right, yeah. Well,
But we're a
okay,
mess.
yeah.
We're a mess.
We'll cut this out.
Out. Or we'll leave it. It's great. Authentic.